Hi, here's a little bit of information on the connection between ADHD and inflammation, which can be caused by food allergies, as well as some herbs that can help. This is Lily from Brown Bear Herbs. I've been working with herbs for over 20 years, and I'm happy to share with you some herbal allies that I think can really help with ADHD. I'm going to talk about linden and hawthorn, which are herbs that you can use if you have heat and inflammation in your body. One of the ways that you will know that you have heat and inflammation, aside from like obvious symptoms like redness and feeling hot, is looking at your tongue. And if you have a very red tongue, especially pointed and red at the tip or all over, then that is a sign that you have heat and inflammation in your body, and that tip of your tongue is associated with your mind and your heart and overactivity in your mind, because there's a connection between your mind and heart, and in Chinese medicine, for example, your mind is believed to live in your heart. Check your tongue and look for that sign. There are two main herbs I like to use when you have the combination of focus and attention and overactive mind symptoms, and some anxiety maybe, mixed in with that heat signature. Where's all that heat coming from? That heat could be coming from food allergies. I worked as a nurse for about 10 years, and one of the clinics I worked in was a medical clinic that focused on food allergies and vitamin supplementation, stuff like that. So they would do food allergy testing and like vitamin IV bags. And they did see a lot of times that if they tested people and then they stayed off their food allergies, that could eliminate their ADHD symptoms and anxiety. So, and it's important to note that food allergies don't manifest the same for everybody. So for one person, it could be stomach troubles. For another person, it could be insomnia and anxiety and focus issues. For someone else, it could be thyroid issues. It's not always a super clear-cut picture, but I have definitely seen a correlation in my herbal practice and working at that medical clinic. It was really exciting to see people taking a look at their allergies, changing their diet, and making things work. Now, if you don't know what your allergies are, or you have a lot of allergies, then it's helpful to work with some herbs that can strengthen your system so that you don't have to change your whole life and not eat anything, because that can be really hard, right? If you find that you have so many allergic reactions, let's strengthen your body. And one of those herbs is hawthorn. Hawthorn's great for food allergies. Some other things that it's helpful for are the anxiety, focus issues. You might have dryness on the back of your hands. Heart, it's very supportive for the heart, physical heart. Historically, it has been used to help with arrhythmias and blood pressure and cholesterol, and it has a very long reputation of being used for heart issues. So if you see the tongue, you suspect food allergies, you have low blood sugar, heart issues, cholesterol issues. Insomnia is a big one. If you have the type of insomnia where it's easier to get to sleep and then you wake up and have trouble getting back to sleep, hawthorn is a friend. Hawthorn is also can be used for asthma. And I think it's a really nice kind of rescue herb for asthma. So it is one option you could use if you're having an asthma attack, is to take the tincture in large doses until you feel some calming down. If you know Reiki, you can also do Reiki on your heart, and that can help. I used to have asthma, so I learned a bunch of tricks. Outside of this video, there's another video that talks about using cardamom pods preventatively for asthma. That's really helpful. There's a bunch of herbs. I'll put a link right there. So, and it might be over there. Who knows? So hawthorn's great. And the way I like to use it is a tincture, 10 drops, morning and evening, and do that consistently for a few months. And then linden is another herb that is great as a tea, or I use it in Clear Mind Herbal Smoking Blend. And that is also going to have a similar tongue, so pointy, red tip. And you're also going to have that person, could be you, has anxiety, really agitated mind, ADHD symptoms can be in there. A lot of people who smoked my Clear Mind blend reported back that it was great for their ADHD. I didn't formulate it for that purpose, but that's the results that came back to me. Okay, so Hawthorn is one that I think of that's really good for like grief and heartbreak. And I think it's not just food allergies. I'd say also allergies to animals, stuff like that, where your heart is involved. Like sometimes I feel like we have an allergy and it's because something bad happened and we reacted by tensing up around that food, or maybe around mealtime there was tension too. I'm not saying that food allergies are not physical or can't be just physical, but I noticed that as an energy sensitive person and somebody who works with energy and herbs, and working with my family's health and my own health and clients, I can see that as we free up the flow of energy in different areas, it creates different levels of health, increasing health. And so if you have your heart shut down because of like a personal heartache about something, then Hawthorn can come in and do some healing. I almost feel like rose hips would be nice to complement this. I love those two together. And when fall comes around, I'll share with you my favorite fall recipe, which involves Hawthorn and rose hips. I love it. It's such a good feeling. Okay, Linden, on the other hand, it has more of like energy, less about personal and more about interacting with others. So creating like a harmonious community sense or family sense and like peace and joy and love in a little bit broader circle. Like when you think about the plant, the two trees, so they're two trees. So they're all about like breathing, right? They want to have a good breathing relationship with you. And they want to make sure that like your skin also is part of your breathing, and when you have allergies and your skin can get compromised in your lungs. So Hawthorn and Linden give off two totally different vibes, and it makes sense for like the way I see them interacting. And Hawthorn has a whole bunch of thorns, and it's like, okay, I have all these great berries, you can come and get them, but you better proceed cautiously. And that's like a thing with, I think, heart repair medicine, like roses, and then even inviting love with rose. It's like, I'm very precious. Be careful with yourself when you come near me. Be careful with me. Proceed carefully. There's a bunch of thorns. Whereas Linden, on the other hand, is like super sweet smelling and just like inviting you and all the bees to just like stick your face in the flowers and like soak in the sweetness and make syrups out of the medicine of the flowers. So yeah, so Linden kind of invites people to gather around and enjoy the sweetness of life. And it was used historically to put in the town circle for town meetings, for legal practices, to make people see both sides better, to help people understand the other point of view and commonalities and like why we came together in the first place. Why am I talking about love and community and heartbreak when I'm talking about allergies and ADHD symptoms and anxiety? What is that all about? Well, I think it's all just much more of like a big rubber band ball, or tangle ball of yarn. I like that better, than we think. Or several balls of yarn tingling together. When there's a lot of emotions involved, they can be coming from different areas and come out in different ways. So if you had a family that had difficult dinner times and that got mixed up into how your body processed food, you could have a lot of food allergies. And if you heal your heart around that with the help of herbal medicine, then that could help unwind your body from the allergies, both physically, because it has all these properties, help you, and emotionally and like energetically. So I'd like to hear about your experiences with those herbs, or just like your experience with ADHD and anxiety. Do you feel like it's connected to your experience of food or emotions coming from your family of origin? What do you think? And I'd love to hear your comments. You can find Hawthorn in my Humanity tea. That's a really great tea, and I think it's kind of manly. So if you like something that's a little bit more non-binary or manly in a tea, then I recommend that one because it has like more woodsy flavors, and it's such a good one. I really like it. It's got Hawthorn, Yerba Santa, thyme, and I think it's got one more in there, but I love it. And then, like I said, the Clear Mind for Linden. That's as far as what's available in my shop. And then sometimes I have the tincture in stock of Hawthorn, and I'm happy to source that for you too. If you'd prefer to get it through me, just send a yoo-hoo. And then in terms of flower and gem essences, there's a lot of great options. I encourage you to like look at the descriptions, and it doesn't have to be an exact fit. Like if you feel like the physical side of it makes sense for you but not the emotional, or vice versa, there's not going to be physical health consequences. So if it's calling to you, like you really feel like the picture calling, or there's something about it where you're like, I'm curious, I've always noticed that flower, then just go for it. Katie's here. He's such a good boy. So Madia is a great one. That's good if you want to be disciplined and focused. And lapis lazuli gem essence is great for if you're really working on mastering something. If you want to like be the best, whatever it is. That first came into my life when I had a tea shop and I was making samosas and chai. And I think I had a dream about lapis lazuli, and it was like, work with me and just work on those samosas as though you want to be like win like the cooking contest or whatever. And I did, I guess. And people used to come, and like Indian people would come, and they would be like, I hear you have chai and samosas, like very skeptical. And then they'd be like, oh, this tastes like my grandma made them. And I do have to credit a woman I knew from my meditation community who she just happened to be the first and only person I talked to about it. I was like, do you know how to make samosas? And she was like, how do you not know how to make samosas, first of all? And then secondly, she was like, yeah, my family has a frozen samosa company in Canada. And she told me like all her secrets, and she was so cool. She was a great person. So it wasn't just me, but lapis is like, it was like the stone of the pharaohs, you know, they were working with it for mastery. So if you have anything in your life that you're trying to get really good at, get some help from lapis. And then filigree is a good one for ADHD and also OCD if you're having, or concussion symptoms, if you're having repetitive thinking and you're having trouble letting go of a specific thought or type of thought that's happening over and over again, you could use that. Blue vervain can be helpful with that too if you're too like high strung and you're like very like write a bunch of lists and like have difficulty unwinding, like you're really adverse to like any kind of substance use. Not that you have to use substances or it's a good idea, just like you like don't, it's not even about substances, it's just like you don't give yourself room to unwind. Blue vervain. And I love lepidolite. We have lepidolite gem essence, and that is just super good for anxiety. I don't know how it's so beautiful and magical, but I love it. So that's like a bunch of them, and some of them might seem like they do the same thing. We'll just pick the things that you like, and then I just put like 5 drops in my water and sip it throughout the day. You can use a big water bottle and do that, or if that's not convenient, you just put it in your a couple drinks throughout the day. It doesn't have to be this certain exact way, just like gradually getting that medicine, that energy shift inside of you, and it can help you change your life. I've experimented with more new things lately, and I even used I have the Field Guide deck by Lori Wolf. I think she's got one more name. She's my friend. I want to think of her as Lori Wolf. And it's in the shop. And she has a great deck that has herbs and gems in it and animals, which I like all 3. And I love working with all 3 of those medicines. And what I did was a reading for myself for like a goal I was working on, and then I made an essence combo from those, and that was like really successful for me. Because it's like sometimes when you want to shift your way of thinking or feeling about stuff so that new doors can open, or you can open the doors for other things to come in, it can be really hard to get out of your way of doing things. You were taught how to do things and you did things reactively your whole life, and you're in a pattern. And even if you're somebody who changes and grows a lot, you're still kind of hard to change. It's similar to food. If you were raised a certain way with food, which we all were, then everything you do to change is in reference to that. So it's pretty unlikely if you go from like, vegetables as a garnish to become like this hardcore veggie eater overnight. You might, but that's just like one example of how, what we're raised with can be like a great starting point, or it can be like a great challenge. But everything we do is in relation to that. So I hope you found that interesting. If there's other topics you'd like to hear about or questions you have, please leave me comments below. And if you like this video, please like it. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe so you can get more videos. I hope you have a wonderful day, and you can find the products I was talking about at brownbearherbs.com.